Sunday, October 14th, and we are almost an hour removed from the Texans finally getting back to 500. Finally getting back to 500 after so long. Almost it's been too long. I'm John Fuentes. I'm here with my co-host James Ray. This is the J&J Houston Sportscast. James, how you doing, man?
Doing well, man. It's pretty bad that have to feel happy about 500. That's just where we're at. That's depressing.
Yeah, man.
But here we are.
Yeah. Well, let's get right into it. The Houston Texans defeated the Buffalo Bills today. What was it? 20 to 13,
13.
and it
Yeah.
was we were so close to overtime. So close to overtime, and we should not have been. On paper, this team is so much better than Buffalo. It's atrocious that we were even that in that close of a game with this team. Offense, they have nothing. With a rookie quarterback who we were manhandling pretty much the first half. Our defense did its job today. Our defense, I believe, did its job today. It put the offense in positions where they should have scored. They got field position in Buffalo territory so many times. They got field position at the 1 yard line off of a pass interference call on Will Fuller, where Fuller almost made me have a heart attack because I thought he tore his hamstring again. But 1 yard line. And you managed to get it all the way back, almost out of the red zone, and have to settle for a field goal. This team cannot punch it in at the 1 yard line. This team cannot score touchdowns in the red zone. This team has remained the almost team for the past several seasons. It went from being the almost won team to the almost lost team. That's where we're at now. We're still the almost team. Our roster shows that we should be one of the most threatening teams in the league. Our defensive line is stacked with talent. We have guys in the secondary who are playing pretty well. The Honey Badger is doing his thing. Deshaun Watson is out there getting clobbered. He has all the potential in the world. Something's hindering him, and honestly, I think it's several things. You have receivers who show tremendous promise in Will Fuller and Keone Kela, and then you have DeAndre Hopkins, who's arguably the greatest in the league right now. This team should be way better than 3-3. It amazes me where they're at. And honestly, I can't even enjoy this win. I haven't enjoyed the past 3 wins that they've gotten. Started off, 0-3, went 3-0. Now we're sitting tight at 3-3. We should be better than this. I haven't enjoyed a win from this team for over a year. That's sad. I can't enjoy this win. And I know last year we talked about it that, these guys can win and we always find something to nitpick about. I'm past that at this point. Bill O'Brien is a detriment to this team. There is no excuse for you to not to score in some of those positions you were in today. I'm sorry. This man, I looked to my dad, I said, win, lose, or draw. We were right when we tied, 13-13. I looked at him, I said, win, lose, or draw, this man needs to be fired. This is an embarrassment. This is an absolute embarrassment.
It's to the point to where it's not even like I'm beyond anger. I'm at delirium right now because it's to the point to where you can't rely on even a lead anymore. Even if you have a lead against a struggling team, and I agree with you. The Bills have an abysmal offense. They have a rookie quarterback that is in over his head big time, but people sleep on their defense. They've got a sound defense. Even though Hopkins got his numbers today, Tre'Davious White played a great game against him. The rookie corner from LSU played a great game against him. I was very impressed with his ability. Shaq Lawson, wow, okay, that's why they got you. He looked really good. Of course, he went really good against our offensive line, and that is where my praise pretty much ends for anybody in this game. I have not seen such a bipolar line in my entire life. Last week, they did extremely well against a pretty good defensive front in Dallas. This week, Julian Davenport could not block Jerry Hughes to save his life. I mean, it was horrible. I've never seen a left tackle in all the horrible left tackles that Houston's ever had. I've never seen a left tackle this bad. That's saying something. That means Chris Clark was better. I mean, just I don't know how you go from having a great O-line game to digressing and regressing to the abysmal crap you've been doing all season long. Deshaun Watson is going to be a walking sore. He's already think about it. We're 6 games in, and he's already dying. He's already just getting beat up left and right. He got his elbow hit today, which means his arm's going to be all out of kind of whack for the next week. Playing with a chest injury. He's running for his life. He's trying to make something out of nothing, and I think he's put this whole team on his back like a quarterback should, but he needs to learn to live another day. The one thing that I don't like about Deshaun Watson, I am so sick of seeing a pick in a game. It's almost like watching Matt Schaub all over again. In the end zone pick 6 times. Was it 4 of 6? 4 of the 6. Like if he's gone 4 games in a row where he's throwing a pick in the end zone when we're within field goal range. That's unacceptable. He threw it across his body. Ryan Griffin was nowhere near that ball. It's you just sit back and you kind of just scratch your head and try to and at least try to make some sense out of it, and you can't. You can't. I said in the previous podcast, when they hit 500, maybe it'll move the needle. There is nothing about this game that makes me move that needle, with the exception of maybe the defense, because I'm going to be honest with you. After 6 games, this defense, when it hits in the third quarter, they look gassed. Why? Because they're on the field all the freaking time. And I got to say, today's defense and special teams, I will give special teams this,
tip of the hat,
has been tremendous. And they're winning us games, not the offense. The defense and special teams are winning us games right now.
Defense won today's.
That's the bottom line. Defense won today. J-Joe's pick and then Kareem Jackson's Karen pick, which, by the way, Kareem Jackson, thank you for finding the fountain of youth, man, because you are making me look stupid with all the crap I've ever talked about you. You are playing like a man on fire, and that is what we need right now. It's the positives I can draw from this game is I like the resolve of the defense. I still question some rack calls as far as, 3rd and 3 and we're 10 yards off of the corners, a quick slant. And it's a first. Like I'm still not understanding that. I'm still not understanding why it's 3rd and 12 or 17 and you're in zone coverage when they don't have the talent on the other side of the ball to keep up with the talent that you have on the side. I mean, to me, that if anything, that says that's a detriment to Rack showing his hand. Okay, I don't trust my corner play, so I'm going to back them off and make sure they're in zone. You got linebacker. Let me put you this way. If this team literally ran man all game long and blitzed every now and then, got off the corner, got at the middle, hell, maybe even a corner blitz, this team would be better off than playing zone coverage, because every time they play zone, they get torn to shreds every single time. It never works for us. So, yeah, man, I'm with you. It's to the point to where I when something bad in the past used to happen during a game, I would get mad. Now I just laugh because I expect it.
Yeah.
That's so sad. I mean, that's how I've come to this point is kind of beyond me, because I got friends texting me, my father texting me, and he's like, "Dude, are you serious?" And I'm like, "What? Are you surprised?" Like that's my first response is, "Yep." Are you surprised? Because I'm not. I'm just not. Until this man is gone, say what you want about Bill O'Brien and whatever positive attributes he has for this football team, his negatives outweigh his positives. And he is, at this point, operational risk management has to take an effect, and the benefit does not outweigh the risk with him. you have to cut him. You have to get him out of there, and you got to get him out of there quick, or you're going to have your franchise quarterback that we've been waiting for a long freaking time pretty much end up as RG3 because he's getting trounced because your inability to coach offensive linemen or draft offensive linemen or pick up offensive linemen free agency.
Yeah, and one thing about Deshaun, he didn't play good today. I mean, he's had great performances with the exception of the season opener these past few weeks, but today he just didn't have a good game. We really leaned on the defense to win us this game today, and there's one reason I really can't give Deshaun too much flack for what happened today, and that's we knew heading into this game something is wrong with him. He is hurt. Something is wrong with Deshaun Watson, and say what you want about the way he played today. The kid is tough as nails for going through what he went through today because you could tell he was not himself and he is not comfortable out there.
Without a doubt.
I mean, even as uncomfortable as he usually is with that offensive line, he was not comfortable out there today. But he was trying his heart out. And this guy wants to win, but my issue is, for one, like you mentioned, the interceptions. Learn to live to play another down. Do not just heave it up for the sake of trying to make a play when the odds of that play being made are less than 5%. Like you said, Griffin was nowhere near that whatsoever. You cannot that was field goal range. Those are points that you're leaving on the board. I don't care if we're heading into halftime and there's seconds left and Buffalo can't even score. Those are points that we needed. That would have helped us a lot when Buffalo started coming back in the second half. It would have given us a little bit more of relaxation. Instead, Jonathan Joseph had to go out there, make a play, and win us the game. Now, another issue I have, and I know you have something you want to talk about this, I don't think Deshaun Watson wants to play for Bill O'Brien. He's not a guy that he wants to play for. He doesn't get excited about playing for this coach. I think he has his own grievances with him in his own mind. He's just too respectful to say otherwise, and he'll come to his defense when it comes to the media and stuff like that. He'll defend the play calling. He's done it before, but he knows Deshaun has all the tools in the world to take this offense by the helm and just run with it. Let Deshaun Watson be Deshaun Watson, but instead, Bill O'Brien, a legend in his own mind, wants to make this his offense. He wants Deshaun to run his offense. Bill O'Brien tries shoving the run game down opposing teams' throats. It is not working. 1 yard line. You cannot punch the ball in at the 1 freaking yard line after a blessing of a pass interference call in that end zone. A blessing. Without that call, we don't win this game. You cannot punch it in with 1 yard to go. You get stuffed, you lose a yard, and you run a freaking shovel pass. Here's the thing about the shovel pass. I looked right next to my dad. I looked him dead in the eye. I said, this is going to be one of those shovel passes to the receiver. I am by no means a football expert. When I can call the next play you're going to do, you should not be, you're doing something wrong. As a professional coach in the National Football League, you're doing something wrong when an average Joe Schmo can call your plays. This offense is predictable. Bill O'Brien is hard-headed. When it gets through his thick skull that this offensive scheme he's trying to run isn't working, I don't know. But after today, Bob McNair really needs to look long and hard at what this man is doing for this team because it's not much. We are inching past teams that we should be blowing out. Offensive line, you can lean on that excuse only so much. We have the talent to win games. We're just not doing it because our head coach does not know how to be a head coach. This is not a head coach. I don't even want him as an offensive coordinator, to be honest with you. I want a new regime at the helm, coaching Deshaun Watson and letting this kid do what he can do on the field. This is why we drafted him. This is why he's one of the most special quarterbacks to come out of college football in recent years. We have him. We have our franchise quarterback. You keep up at this rate, like you said, we're going to have ourselves an RG3 situation, and then we're back at square one. Right back at square one. At this point, I don't know. Jacksonville, I'm expecting us to get trounced. I don't see Bill O'Brien's play calling. If we play the way we did this week against Jacksonville, it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, there's something to be said about, we've been saying this for a couple weeks now, but I said it in particularly. I on my YouTube channel that I do on myself, Ray7224. It's on YouTube. I had a long rant that John was a privy to about Bill O'Brien saying he does not know what he has to do, but he has to do something different. So he does something different. It works. And then he sticks with that something different instead of trying something else different. And again, I've said this, the longer Bill O'Brien has with a quarterback, the more he messes him up. That is the God honest truth. Look it up if you don't believe me.
Brock Osweiler beat the Chicago Bears today.
And even threw 2 picks, but still beat them nonetheless. I want you to think about that. Even when Fitzpatrick left Houston, when Hoyer left Houston, even though he started for a little bit, but then he went back to the backup role. But they just seem different, better, more rejuvenated, more decisive on their throws. They don't look like they're confused. They don't look. It just there's so much that goes into this that I thought that maybe Deshaun and Bill have a special relationship to where, maybe we're just reading it from the outside looking in. We don't really know the ins and outs of their relationship. And then I saw today that pick that was in the end zone that he threw, and Ryan Griffin was nowhere to be found. He was in the back of the end zone. He threw it at the beginning of the end zone. I honestly think he just underthrew it. He was trying to throw it high to Griffin in the back of the end zone, because the 2 guys were in front of him, which makes sense, but he just didn't get it there. But when he comes off the field, it's the video is on Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien's asking him a question, and Deshaun Watson just keeps walking. He walks all the way to the bench. He doesn't turn around. He doesn't put his hands in the air like, what do you want me to do? He doesn't say. He just keeps walking. He keeps walking to the point to where Bill O'Brien had to follow him all the way to the bench to talk to him. That is 2 people that are not on the same page. And those are the 2 most important people on your football team to where at least on the offensive side of the ball, to make your team go. That right there is a humongous problem. And like you said, if you're Bob, you're Brian, I know that Bill's your boy, but that has to sink in. I don't know many times in the NFL history where a head coach has a problem with a star QB and the owner sticks with the coach and not the star QB. Doesn't happen very often. Bill O'Brien will lose this battle. And if he keeps messing around with Deshaun Watson and getting Deshaun Watson even more hurt, there's a good possibility DW4 is going to go up to the head office and go, hey, Bob, I'm going to let you know right now, I'm probably just going to want to be traded out of here because I'm getting killed. The guy is he's getting hammered. You gave up 6 sacks today, 12 QB hits, probably almost 20 QB hurries. It should have been more like 7 to 10 sacks, because Jerry Hughes missed a couple. Trent Murphy missed one where he got shoved off because Watson's such a beast and was able to escape the pocket. But without that ability, man, we could have saw a 10-sack game by a team against us. And again, like I said, Buffalo's not a scrub defense. They've got good young players, and they've got a good mix of veterans and young players on that team. But the way you looked against Dallas last week, as far as O-line play, compared to what you look like today, it was disgusting. You have no excuse. And I agree with you, John. You can just we can't sit here and just go, it's all the O-line. Because I think it's a combination of O-line coach and Deshaun. They're not on the same page, man. They're not. It's completely evident. Look at this. Like you said, we get to the one. What happens? Both, not just one, both our left tackles false start. Both of them. So let me get this straight. We're in our own building, where it's not going to be too loud, to where they can hear the snap count, and they still there's a miscommunication, man. There's miscommunication going on, and it's starting to get to the point to where I'm amazed we score any points on anybody, even though we have monster weapons at our disposal. It's very painful to watch. It's kind of comical in a lot of ways, because you're just like, okay, let's see how they can. Just when you don't think they can screw up much more, they find a way to just amaze you. And it's just like, okay, well, you get to the fourth quarter, if you're up by 3 or by 6, you feel a little uncomfortable. Even if they're up by 10, you still feel a little uncomfortable. With the team we have on paper, we should not feel uncomfortable with a 6 to 10 point lead. That's just the bottom line, in my opinion. But here we are.
Yeah, and another thing, this offense has no identity whatsoever. I mean,
0.
No identity at all. You are not a good running team. You're not a good passing team. You are sure as hell not good in the end zone or in the red zone. I mean, I'm at a loss for words when it comes to this offense at this point. And I know a lot of people are probably going to say, oh, shut up, whatever. We won the game, on to Jacksonville. Look, you can only get so far playing this way. You're not New England. New England is you can't beat New England this way. The Rams, forget about it. Kansas City, hilarious. I mean, if this team has any chance whatsoever, because like I said, a lot of people are going to feel very confident after this with us being at 500, which again, like you said at the top, sad that we're even excited about 500. But
it's just a depressing thought to think about, that the bar is average. Mediocrity is the acceptable nomenclature at this time for what it is to be a professional football. I just, you can't sit there for example, I don't know if you caught the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game.
I caught the end.
Yeah, man, it was, first, Pittsburgh's down by 1. They're going in. They're trying to drive. Big Ben's off the mark on a lot of plays. It looks like they're going to pass the ball. They're not looking to run it, obviously. And I'm sitting there watching Tomlin's play calls, and I'm watching the receivers, the routes. The receivers are running natural pick routes, things like that, things that work. And I'm like, and I'm by no means a big Tomlin fan, but I'm sitting here watching that, and I'm like, that is incredible. That is incredible, because the game-winning touchdown was on a natural pick route to Antonio Brown. You mean to tell me Fuller or Hop couldn't do that? You mean to tell me that Deshaun Watson couldn't do that? And then the 2-point conversion play to Smith-Schuster was a nice little motion screen right at the goal line, and they were even playing up on bump coverage. But again, it was a natural pick. We don't have that. We don't have that identity in offense. We have nothing to go on. It's almost like Bill wants to be a running team, but we don't have the personnel to be that running team. Say what you want about Blue, say what you want about Miller. They are not cowbell workhorse running backs. They're not the Ricky Williams and Marshall Faulks that can carry it 25, 30 times, and get you the short yardage you need. You're on the 1 yard line, you run a single back dive play to the weak side with Alfred Blue, he gets stuffed for a loss. Your tight ends aren't making good blocks. Griffin, again, I don't know why at this point they even tried to allow Griffin to block, because he does not block. He just doesn't. He doesn't block at all. So, the moral victory, or the people wanting to go, oh, see, okay, we're starting to find our rhythm, we're starting to find our groove, we're starting to find our niche. I hate to break it to you, but I'm with you. I think Jacksonville is going to come in here, even with all their injuries, and smack us around. It would not surprise me if that happened. I even said it today, and I was wrong. I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if Allen had a good game against us. And actually, he looked like towards the end, before he got hurt, he was finding his rhythm. Then you have a guy named Nathan Peterman come in, who's had hardly any reps and is torching. Oh, my God, man. Look, I know the guy threw 2 picks at the end, but up to that point, I think it was like 4 of 6 for 66 yards and a touchdown as a backup. What is it with Houston and backups? Why can't we beat backups? Like, it's, oh, well, we got the win. Look, man, that's fine. We got the win. But you really honestly can't sit there, even as a Homer Texans fan, and go, oh, yeah, we could go all the way. With this offense, not on your life. Not on your life. There's no way. There's no way. So you just have to sit there and just watch it. And I'm telling you, it's going to get to a point to where because Houston fans are already kind of clamoring for Bill to be gone. The Houston fans are already at that point. If it gets worse and we end up, let's say, like lose out somehow, some way, or we stay 5-11 like I predicted, I find it extremely hard for Bill to be around at the back end of the year. I know we agreed that, he'd probably give him a 2-year stint, because he's obviously not going to go anywhere this year, and I still agree with this year. But if this year turns out to be as abysmal as it's looking, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just want a blowout win. Can I get a blowout win, please? On a scrub team that should not even be in the same stadium with us. That's all I'm asking for. Just give me one. Just give me one. Can I not have an almost triple overtime or 3 overtimes in a row in 3 weeks? Can I have a non-nail biter because you're playing prevent zone defense, Romeo Crennel? Can you do that for me, please? That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, and another sad thing to look at, Indianapolis is essentially, for now, out of the race for the division title. They're 1-5. They lost today to the Jets. The Jets. They were defeated 42-34 in New York. Now, as it stands, because we're recording this in the middle of the late games, Tennessee is down to Baltimore 14-0. Jacksonville's losing to Dallas 17-0. If these scores hold, you're going into next week against Jacksonville playing for the division lead. You are playing for the division lead. If you play to your capability, if you play to your potential, you will take the lead in the division next week if you can beat Jacksonville. And like I said, this team is not beating Jacksonville. Not this way. Not the way they're playing right now. Not the way play calling is going. Not the way the offensive line's playing. Not the way Deshaun's just heaving it up whenever he scrambles out the pocket. Now, I understand this kid's 23 years old. He's 2 years older than me. To put that in perspective, I'm 21, which is insane to even think about. This is an emotional, young kid who wants to win, and that was very evident in the little exchange with Bill O'Brien, like you said. He has got to be just as frustrated. I can't imagine this team going back into the locker room and being happy about this. I can't. They have to know that they should have handled these guys today. That they should be a hell of a lot better than what they've shown. And I know that they hear the feedback from the fans. You know they're on social media. You know they're watching NFL Network. They're listening to the radio stations. I don't know. I don't know what. At this point, I'm legit at a loss for words with this team, and I don't think even in the worst of seasons that we've had, this isn't even the worst season we've had yet. So we're already better than our worst season, but it still feels like worse than all the rest.
Yeah, it's what I say every season when Houston's picked to do, well, I should say the Texans. When the Texans are picked to do something unbelievable, they flop. They look like utter crap. I always said, well, Romeo Cornell defenses, historically start off slow. Well, we're going into game 7. When's that going to pick up? Because again, Romeo Cornell, please stop running prevent. Let me put you this way: I would rather us lose a man-to-man coverage and one person getting beat at the end of the game than us losing to zone coverage like we did in New England last year on the last play of the game. I prevent defenses prevent you from winning. That's been an age-old expression for anyone who's actually ever played football. I guarantee you, if you played on the defense side of the ball, you have heard that at one point. We do not have the personnel to play zone. We just don't. We don't. We have the personnel to play man coverage, and it seems like we hardly ever play man coverage when it counts. When we're supposed to do what Houston fans have been wanting, step on their throat. Step on it. Luckily we were in man. See, here, if you ever wanted some kind of evidence of that, think about the Jonathan Joseph pick. He was not in zone. He was in man. He was just playing off coverage and baiting the quarterback. If we're in zone, that's a completion. This game might be a different story. Put that in perspective. They were playing zone, they got gashed. Guess what? Romeo said, okay, screw that. We're just going to go man. Guess what? 2 picks later and a win. We got a W. See how that works? Very simplistic equation. As a Houston fan, you have to take everything into consideration. You can't just go, oh, well, we got to win. The win's a win. I'm with you on that. I'll take the dub, but at the same time, I take the win, go in immediately after I go, okay, great, we got to win. I go, oh my God, we got to play Jacksonville next week. Here we go. What do I do now? You know what I mean? And it's a never-ending story. It's the same thing every week. We have no idea. It's Wheel of Fortune. Wherever it lands is what we get, and we just have to make do with it. It's so difficult to sit there and try to not only analyze what we have, because we have no consistency anywhere, it seems like. The only consistency I can honestly say we've had all season long has been special teams, and even they had one hiccup during the Tennessee game. Again, you have to think about everything that goes on in the game and outside in the locker room. So,
I think at this point we've pretty much said everything we can about this team at this moment. But before we move on to happier news in the world of baseball, as we do every week, can I get a score prediction for Jacksonville?
33-10 Jacksonville.
That's amazing. Mine's is just off. Mine's was 33-9. I don't think we score a touchdown. I think we just settle for field goals. That was my prediction, though. That's crazy. But yeah, I'm not expecting much from these guys next week. And part of the reason for that is just a huge reason for that is Deshaun looked very uncomfortable today. I'm not even sure he practiced that much, if at all, this week, and it was very evident. And who knows if he's going to be doing the same thing this next week heading into Jacksonville. So we'll leave it at that with the Texans. Enough of the headaches. The Houston Astros, I mean, I don't think I've ever enjoyed watching a playoff game more than I enjoyed that one. It had the perfect mixture of frustration and happiness in that game. The first half, I'm tearing my hair out, the little hair I have, watching Verlander. This guy, I think we said it in the last podcast. I was not expecting at all to lose this game because the Verlandy man, as they call him, I had 100% faith in him. 100% faith. I don't know if mediocre is the right word for that. I want to say it was maybe a notch below, but to win a game even with that kind of pitching from that caliber of a pitcher, this guy is up for the Cy Young. This team is on fire. George Springer is the man. Alex Bregman is the man. All these guys, I mean, do I smell dynasty?
You know, for all the grief we gave Correa, guess who showed up?
Yeah.
Correa.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been a part of the Astros team to where I go into the 7th, 8th, 9th inning thinking we're completely out of it. They score so many runs so fast. It's almost unbelievable. But we've seen it time and time and time again, and we've come to expect it. So it's not unbelievable. It's refreshing. And like you said, Verlander had a pedestrian outing and still won against this vaulted Boston team, dude. Like I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, okay, if there's no wild pitches, we're still winning 2-0. It's like if there's no walks, we're still winning. Like I find it incredible that we gift wrapped them 2 runs to tie the game, only to just come back and smack them in the mouth in their home turf. Gurriel had, and I like Yuri, but he's got one of the ugliest damn swings I've ever seen in my life. I'm just saying, his inside-out helicopter swing with his troll hair, it drives me insane. But it's effective, and he does it when it counts the most. Wrapping around the pesky pole was just icing on the cake for me. I was just like, oh, that's just beautiful. Let the hair flow, bro. Let it go. Just let it go, man. It's awesome. And, and then the bullpen comes in, and I'm like, okay, you just got to one of our better parts of our team. Go ahead. Yeah, let's get into the bullpen. That's no problem. And then we get to their bullpen, and this Kelly guy, this guy is trash, dude. The guy that plugged Bregman, that guy's hot garbage, man. He needs to go park the He's annoying. He's annoying. But here's my thing. Chris Sale should never want to pitch against Houston ever again in his life. Every time he pitches against Houston, he does not have a great outing. And all things considering, he had a decent outing, but not a Chris Sale outing, quote unquote. But I really want to see I call him David Kershaw, because David Price does not pitch well in the postseason. He never has. I am looking forward to Houston just jumping on his crap and just destroying him, especially since the last time Price played Houston in the regular season, he made him look pretty bad. And do not doubt O'Bregman, Mr. Bregsman, Mr. Mighty Mouse. Do not doubt that is not a pin in his hat that he's willing to rectify as soon as he plays him. I guarantee him and Altuve have a big circle with, Price, we're going to go ahead and tattoo his butt real quick. And I actually hope they don't tattoo him. I hope they score at least 4 runs on him and kind of milk him, and they let him stay until about the 6th or 7th, because then I'm not really too worried about him coming later in the series if it does go later in the series. I still think it's over in 5. I'll give Boston a fluke win. But, man, I'm so excited. I sit there and I'm like you, man. I was just pulling my hair out and just trying to understand. Okay, so let me get this straight. They can't really score on us unless we shoot ourselves in the foot. So what are we really worried about again? I mean, it's too fun to watch, man. It really is. I loved watching, and I'm gonna say this. Houston fans a lot of Houston fans, whether it be football, baseball, basketball, whatever the case may be, a lot of them don't have the room to talk a lot of mess when they're in another park or playing at another city. But Houston fans were were acting pretty shitty and shady to those Boston fans that were in the stands, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure some fights broke out because they were flaunting it big time, and I love that because we've never had that,
never
dude.
had that.
We've never had that. We've never had the opportunity to go into someone's turf and just totally take the wind out of their sails. Man, I have never heard Boston in a playoff game that quiet. Hardly ever. Maybe after the Boone home run off of Wakefield, because that was pretty bad.
But it makes it all the more sweeter for me because I've never enjoyed sporting franchises from the Northeast. Don't ask me why, but Boston in particular, so spoiled when it comes to sports. You've had several championships with the Celtics. You've had several championships with the Red Sox, and you have the Patriots. They're Patriots up there. The Patriots fans up there too. So it is just nice to be able to, from down south, have that much bragging rights over you at this point in time. Now, I won't jinx it because I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm not going to say anything about football because we know how atrocious that is right now. Can't really say anything about basketball, really. But baseball, completely different story. It's nice to have that. It's nice to feel like the New England Patriot fans, where we can just be so cocky about everything. Like, we have Tom Brady, we have this, we have that, we have the coach, we have the owner. It is nice to be able to have that kind of ability to brag. I understand why they're such assholes now at this point.
Get off my wave, man. I swear to God, I was thinking the same thing. To me, I'm gonna let it ride. I'm gonna kind of be braggadocious and kind of let it go, and because I've heard it nonstop from New England Patriot fans for freaking years. You gotta think, Boston was a running joke, kind of like the Cubs before they finally won a series, right? I mean, they were always in the playoffs, but they were always chasing the Yankees. Then they could never get past the Yankees, and they finally did. Then they won a World Series. Now all of a sudden, Boston Red Sox is one of the best franchises that ever lived in baseball, which is BS. I don't know how that happened, but I'm with you, man. I am not a big fan of Northwest teams. You know what? I'm not a big fan of North teams, period. If you're above – to me, if you're above like Mizzou, I got nothing for you. If you're above Colorado, I've got nothing for you. Like, I just don't like you, just on principle. Just because I know the people in the North, well, not all of them, but for the most part, are dicks. And I don't want to have to deal with anything. And when they're good, or when their team is good, or something's going their way, they flaunt it like it's nobody's business. So now that the shoe is on the other foot, so to speak, I'm going to enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, Boston, you're trash, you're hot garbage, you're sitting in the garage with it closed, with your car on, with your mouth around the tailpipe. Like, you're just you're done. You're done, man. Like, and I love the fact that even if it was a close game, I still would not be worried. It's literally the complete opposite of how I feel about the Texans. It's just it's weird. It's like, on one hand, I really love my baseball team and I have no worries about them. Even when I think they do something that kind of goes against my grain or my thought process, I kind of, okay, well, maybe they got an idea of what's going on. When it's the Texans, I think they're clueless. So I'm going to throw everything I got at them, going, you're an idiot, you're retarded, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're coaching, you don't know your players, da-da-da. Like, I always go off and off. You've seen my video, man. I do that all the time. There's very few times where I've dumbed it down a lot over the years where I have a rant video. But when I have a rant video, it is very warranted and I have valid reason for it. So, it's just so fun to be a part of a franchise that just knows what the hell they're doing. Period.
Yeah.
So,
and icing on top of the cake was seeing Alex Cora get ejected from the game. I mean, I loved it. I loved it so much. And I think that happened during the commercial break, so you couldn't really enjoy it as much. But when you come back and you see the replay and you're like, what just happened? It made it. And then one thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way is when they checked. I don't ask me why his name is slipping me. They checked the glove of they
Osuna?
yeah. They checked his glove, and I'm thinking, really? Like now we're gonna have a little bit of a stain. And you know what? To be fair, I haven't seen too many people talking about this, but I'm sure Boston fans somewhere are saying, "Oh, these guys are cheating somehow, some way, whatever." I mean,
Meanwhile, in New England, they're deflating footballs. I mean,
exactly,
don't even go there, dude. Like
exactly.
that's like don't even you keep all right, fine. You got your cheat mode with Bill Belichick. We got our cheat mode with Lunau. So just let it go. Let it go. Don't bother.
Maldonado, I believe it was. Sorry.
Oh, Maldonado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But today we have Cole who's pitching for us, and man, after what happened with Verlander yesterday, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit, just a smidge of the cockiness has gone down, just a tiny bit. But Cole is still an animal. I'm still very confident about his matchup today with Boston. And you know what? Like you said, Price, I think he implodes. I think we have the man's number today. I think I'm gonna go a step above your cockiness, Ray. I'm gonna say we sweep these guys. I'm gonna say 2 sweeps in a row, and you know what? Bring on Milwaukee, because I think Milwaukee is walking out of the National League as the representatives in the World Series. I really do. Now I know the Dodgers picked up the win, whatever. Fluke. I'm calling fluke on it. I'm calling Milwaukee, Houston World Series. And you know what? I might just scarf together a few $100 to go to one of those games. Just one.
Oh, I'll tailgate if I got to. I don't care. I'll sit at the bar right outside the home plate. It don't bother me one bit. Like I'll sit on the highway if I got to. Like George R. Brown. I'll go to the top of the roof somehow. I don't know. I'll do something. I'll do whatever I got to do to get to one of those games. But yeah, you have to think about it. They didn't handle Verlander's pitches yesterday, and for all those who don't seem to understand that, Gerrit Cole has some of the nastiest pitches in the major leagues. So if they're not really getting the Verlander stuff, who's got pretty nasty stuff himself, but people have even gone on record saying that Cole's got even better stuff than Verlander. Put that in perspective, man. Try to think about that. If you're having problems hitting Verlander, you're definitely going to have problems hitting Cole, and that's what makes him such a powerful one too. Like I said, I would say the sweep, but I do not trust Dallas Keuchel to save my life. I don't trust him. I just don't. He's too much. He's too much of a nitpicker. He's like a Greg Maddux pitcher, but without the closing ability to get it done. Greg Maddux was a stone cold killer. He would just agitate the crap out of you by nipping on the corners with his soft off-speed crap that everyone can hit, but no one can seem to get around on. And he tries to pitch the same way, but he's just not the same kind of guy. Keuchel scares me. I think he drops one, quite frankly. And I think Charlie Morton comes out and just destroys this team. Because, again, Charlie Morton's pitches are equally as nasty as Verlander's. I'm just saying. And, with McCullers in the bullpen and, dude, you can't, there's nothing that you could say that's going to get me all nervous, except for maybe Keuchel, but even then, that's just one game. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not really
It's crazy
worried
considering what Keuchel was not that long ago. I mean,
I know.
it's insane, and it's sad to even say this, but I'm not concerned that he's leaving, because he's leaving. He's gone.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not sad about it. And you know what? I know you think he drops it at home. Not sure, man. With the guys that we have hitting, I never can't count us out of anything, and I know you don't either. I think they put the team on their back, and we ride it out, honestly. And then to have Charlie just finish the series off. I mean, and how sweet would it be just to get a sweep over Boston? That would make my year. That would just make my year to sweep Boston. That'd be so
Here's a
sweet.
crazy thought. Here's a crazy thought. What if they sweep all the way to World Series champs?
Has that ever been done? I'm sure that's been done
I don't
before.
think that's ever been done.
Really?
4-0, 4-0, 4-0, or 3-0, 4-0, 4-0. I don't think that has ever been done. But
If
we've
anyone
got
could do
the
it, this team
power
can.
for it.
This team is
Yeah,
more than capable of doing so.
right.
Man, we're gonna have to do a bet or something on that because that's an intriguing one right there. To a sweep series, man, that's something. That's something to think about right there.
Right,
But
right.
as far as today, I'm gonna assume you're betting on the Stros pulling it off.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I don't see a way we lose this game, which is crazy to say considering we're away now. And it's even crazier to say that the game that we have the most chance of losing is the one that Keuchel is pitching in, and it's at home. Uh, we've been playing way better away than we have at home this entire season anyway, which I think a lot of people forget. But yeah, man. I mean, I
Right.
I love this team. It's amazing to be a part of this ride and back-to-back World Series titles with a sweep. If we could sweep all the way through, that would be amazing.
Yep.
But with that, I think we've pretty much covered it. Covered everything for this week. We have game 2 tonight in about an hour. Actually, the game's about an hour away. We'll probably try and get another episode in sometime early this week to try and recap game 2, and then we will be back for the Jacksonville game next week. But you got anything you want to plug before we get on out of here?
Yeah, you guys, did you know from 1850 to 1936, cannabis was used as a primary medicine for more than 100 separate illnesses and/or diseases in the U.S.? HempWorks CBD oil is an FDA compliant, legal in all 50 states. It works with your own body, your endocrine system, and promote better health and wellness all around. The absence of anxiousness, stress, nerves, irritability, sleeplessness, restlessness, fogginess, pain, and more is what you could experience with no documented detrimental side effects with HempWorks CBD oil. It's a 30-day empty bottle guarantee. Check out our informational website for more info from this podcast at www.hempalot. That's a-lot.com. That's www.hempalot.com. Email CBD for you and me 7224@gmail for any questions. That's what I got.
All right, and then for the latest, news that you want on the Houston Texans, check out Texans Wire. I'm a writer over there. You will see a few of my articles. And one last thing before we go, I know we like to harp on the Texans a lot, and it's not that we like to do it. It's that we speak the truth, and this team gives us absolutely nothing else to talk about other than their issues. But you can't see James right now. You can't see me right now. I am still wearing my Deshaun Watson shirt. James is still wearing his Houston Texans hat. Win, lose, or draw, this is our team, but we just speak the truth. Now, I know a lot of people.
It is not a pleasant time.
Yeah,
it's not a pleasant time.
I know a lot of people are going to hate on it because we're 3-0 as it stands for the past 3 weeks and all that. But as a hardcore football fan, for lack of a better term, there are legitimate things to be upset about with this team, and they are. It is a sore thumb on the organization. But we'll leave it at that. We'll come back next week. We'll recap everything with Houston sports. We're on to Jacksonville. We're on to Boston. We will talk to you next week.